19th episode of Kaapi with a yogi, Kashaya, and a personal interaction with a yogi. We have a wonderful yogic stalwart today from one of the most important institutions of the yoga world, Kaivalyadhama Lonavala. We have with us our elder brother, Sri Subodh Tiwari, bhaiya, with us. Welcome, namaste, Shubhoji, to be with you. It's a pleasure always. And today, I'm so glad that you took your time. You are so busy, one of the busiest person, even other ways. Even now, you are busy with the current yoga season, which is going on. And I'm so glad that you took time. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. So how is the preparation for the yoga day? It's just we have, hardly one day left. So how is the preparation for yoga day overall in the worldwide scenario? Shubhoji, you are part of the, even the Ayush ministries, various boards. It could be the yoga certification board or various advisory boards of the Ayush ministry. And also you are part of the Indian Yoga Association. You are the vice president there. And other than leading the leading institution like Kaivalyadhama, being the main chief officer there. So you have in various capacities. I don't have to introduce you to the yoga world, so I do not take your deep introduction because people know you. You are a star there. Otherwise, I have to keep telling about who the guest is for every day. But people know you by your name. I don't have to elaborate. So in this capacity of what is happening, you are connected with all these. I'm sure from since 2-3 days at least, or for the week ahead, I'm seeing a lot of activities from Kaivalyadham also happening. That's in a fortunate situation. Like, otherwise we have to go there to do. Sitting at home, we are able to hear all the stalwarts from the institution, and various programs are happening really. So we would like to know from you, how is the yoga season going on? In spite of the unfortunate situation of the COVID-19, how is the tempo building up?
Well, surprisingly, when I speak to people, they say, oh, we didn't realize we have got more busier than what we were before. So, and that is the scene with everyone. What has happened is one International Day of Yoga has now got all the yogis busy. So earlier, there was no common event. Everyone was busy in the sadhana. And now there is also the Bhautik world which is involved. And of course, it is for good because we want more and more people to practice. So yes, it has got busier, and we try to do a lot of things to encourage more people to join in. So, like you said, I am involved, yes, with the ministry. I'm involved with Indian Yoga Association and a lot of committees. And one very good thing happened, and that was that when I was speaking to the secretary, Ayush, I said, now, we have had so many meetings online and all. So he said, the best thing is that for future also, I've realized there is no need to call meeting and trouble everyone with coming. Zoom is the best way to call the meetings and finish off the work. And so that is good progression in practical terms. For Kavalyadham, of course, we have had a lot of activities going on, and we have from 2015 we have started activity called Yoga for Young Minds. So we have been concentrating on taking the youngsters on board for programs of yoga, and there have been continuously programs going on from 11th of this month, and it will go on till 21st where they culminate. So on the YouTube channel, you see the whole idea is that if you make a consistent effort, so that is what Kavalyadham has been doing. If you make a consistent effort towards one thing, end of the day, you can quantify your results. So what we have done over a period of 4-5 years, we have been able to create 20,000 yoga interns and yoga interns of CYP. So what happens in the end is these students are motivated to teach to their peer, to their family, the common yoga protocol. And instead of just 1 or 2 classes, we have immersed them into 10 hours of philosophy. So this time when we have a program, there are students from University of Mumbai, there are students from SNDT Women's University, there are students from Hyderabad Sindh National Collegiate Board University. So these are all things going on with the consistent efforts. And I think that it's a very good thing that all of us have culminated together and trying to take this ahead.
Very nice, Shubhoji. You have briefed us how the scenario is overall going on. And how do you see the difference between the Yoga Day 2015, when the first International Yoga Day officially, after Modi ji's, taking it to the UNO, the official celebration, first time when it happened in the Rajpath in New Delhi, I think more than 40-50,000 people coming together in mass everywhere, the programs happening. And this year, that such mass events are not happening. And as rightly you said, there is it kind of in a way people are able to be at home and do with family. So how do you see the difference between Yoga Day 2020 and Yoga Day 2015, Subodhji?
Well, one difference, of course, it is virtual. So that difference, but I think that this is going to be far bigger than what happened in 2015. For the precise reason that even in our programs, we have person from Canary Islands, we have a person from somewhere down Antarctica joining us, now, which otherwise was impossible because, like we say, that the physicality limits you. So it was good to see. What you see is cognition. In yogic terminology, there is the concept of the Sukshma Sharir and a Sthula Sharir. So what physically you see and you like it, it is good, it is mass. But virtually it's quieter, but I think you will reach huge number of people virtually. You will reach each and every home, each and every family. You are safe. You don't need so much of arrangement, so much of logistical arrangement to do. So I think if you look at it positively, we have got something really great going here in compared to 2015. Everything has its advantage and disadvantage. To start with, physicality was important. Today you have the difficulty of space in the sense of you cannot get closer, you have limitations. But I think in terms of numbers, it's going to be bigger and we are better organized.
That's wonderful. That's what we see. Usually, if one person, to lead one Yoga Day event earlier, he has to travel a lot and to participate in many such events. So the whole world we are able to reach and benefit more people. And the advantages, than one person going from a family, whole family can sit together and do the yoga. So that's a wonderful thing which I can see as an advantage happening. But you are there at the Maharashtra, which is I think the hotspot state of the whole country as such. When you say, Adi Shankaracharya in his Panduranga Ashtakam, he sings Maha Yoga Pite Tate Bhimaratya. And Panduranga, he says, Vitala is there in Maha Yoga Pita, means Maharashtra, the whole state, Adi Shankaracharya looked upon as a Maha Yoga Pita. And that's where I think, rightly he said, because the Maha Yoga Pita of Kaivalyadhama is there in that Maharashtra state. So what Adi Shankara, saw thousands of years back as a foreseeing situation, that he saw, one of the leading institution. In fact, I would say one of the first ever institution to come in a proper way was started by Swami Kavalyadham at Lonavala, which is in Maharashtra. It's almost the mid of the state also, Maharashtra. So today's situation, the COVID-19 is also the state is leading there. So how do you see the scenario there? And being the lead yoga institution, is there anything the true yogic measures that we are able to do something for Corona ji?
We are stuck between Mumbai and Pune. So we have two red zones, hottest probably in India. And here is the whole Lonavala, which is still protected as a green zone. So of course, it's a huge challenge because, you have most of the people coming to Kaivalyadham are from Bombay and Pune. We have a staff living in Pune, so we have been restricted quite a lot. But on the other hand, it has given us an opportunity to be interacting with our students, with our participants, because there have been many number of people who have been found positive, who have been Kaivalyadham students, right from England to US to Mumbai to Pune. And we have been engaging a lot on online classes. And we have been even advising, because we have a Ayurvedic center too. And so we have had advices on Ayurvedic medicines and supplements. So we have been able to contribute to people who have been suffering. And I should say that it has been really successful, that, people have found way to come back negative and they're less stressed with it. And most importantly, once you have certain schedule and a routine, you have something to do while you are in quarantine or you are in a hospital. So these facilities, we have been able to interact with these people. So that is the position here. We are still with our participants doing online stuff. and online courses. So time is challenging, and I think especially like you said, yes, it is a Maharashtra, Mahapita, and Lonavala especially. Lonavala, you'll be surprised to know how the name came.
Okay.
Lonavala came from the Pali word Leniwala. Because
Okay.
we used to wonder why did Swamiji was in Baroda, Swami Kavalyadham. And we wondered that why would he come all the way to Lonavala to start Kaivalyadham. And so it comes from this word Leniwala. Leni means caves. So Lonavala was house to three major monasteries built around 500 BC, Buddhist monasteries, which used to house around more than 25,000 monks at that point of time. So Leniwala, the name came from there, and it is a place filled with spiritual energy. So that is what Lonavala is about, and I am happy we are there, and that is why possibly it is protected from these, in these times. And so we are, yes, in middle of thick things, but still protected and doing our duty to help people.
Very, very nice to know that. So you are telling about how Swamiji from Baroda came and started there at Lonavala and everything. So we would like to know from you a bit of the history, the lineage of Kaivalyadham, how a bit of Swami Kavalyadhamji, who is the pioneer of this yoga scientific movement, the research which he started, and how he built up the institution, and how it is today, even after years, it is continuing this wonderful thing. So, please take us through a journey into Kaivalyadhama, Subodhji, from wherever, a virtual journey into Kaivalyadhama.
Well, thank you. Actually, a very interesting journey because, I feel very passionate about it. I'm born and brought up in Kavalyadham. And Swami Kavalyadhamji started his research. He was in Baroda. And it is very interesting. He was actually an ardent physical education student. So he went to learn physical education, Indian physical culture in Baroda under a very famous teacher whose name was Manikra. And part of the physical education, Indian physical education, he also learned the aspect of yoga. Now, over a period of time, what happened that he got very interested in the subject of yoga. This was 1914 onwards. And while he immersed himself in yoga, at some point of time, he thought yoga became more important than the physical culture. So he started looking for a pure yoga teacher. And he then went on to find out near Baroda, and he heard name of Swami Paramhans Madhav Das Maharaj, who was right there at Malsa. And so he went and met him, and then he saw a simple man who was around 114 years of age at that point of time. And he accepted him as his student. And so Swamiji learned the intricate aspect of a yoga under the studentship of, and the disciple of Swami Paramhans Madhav Das Ji Maharaj. And at one point of time in 1917, he asked, he was the principal, Swamiji was principal, he asked his teacher that, I have learned yoga from you. What do you want me to do? Because I had this feeling that I almost want realization. I want to leave this world and go. And Swami Madhavji told him that, don't go because that is selfish. You should contribute to the world. So do something where you can take yoga in a simplified manner to the whole world. And Swamiji was very interested in understanding the scientific aspect of yoga. He was a Sanskrit scholar, but very interested in learning the science. So Swamiji attended 4 years of MBBS course, which was going on just to gain scientific knowledge, because he wanted to do anatomy, physiology, and all these aspects. So he learned that, and 1917, when he was in Baroda, he started the first research in yoga, and he used to live in a place which he named Kaivalyadham. So a small hut he named Kaivalyadham, and he took upon the name Kavalyananda because his original name was Sri Jagannath Gude. And he took this name, Swami Kavalyananda, And he started researching. And that point of time in 1917, he went to a medical hospital in Baroda and requested them that he could use their X-ray to start his research work. So he continued his research 1917, 18, 19, 21, 2021, and continuously started doing. 1921, Swami Madhav Das ji left his mortal coil. Post 21, Swamiji was determined now to establish Kaivalyadham in its real form. So he started going around places, and at that point of time, India was, under colonial rule. So Swamiji used to get sponsored through the princely states, Maharaja of Porbandar, Maharaja of Ammalner, all these people were with him, Maharaja of Baroda, the Gaikwads, they were supporting his work. So he got support from them, and when he was looking out for place, he landed up in Lonavala. And the reason he landed up in Lonavala, one, like I told you, a place surrounded by spiritual energy. Secondly, very important thing which not many people know. You must have heard of Raja Ravi Verma, the famous painter. Raja Ravi Verma's press was located 7 kilometers from Lonavala. It is called Malavali place. And Raja Ravi Verma's benefactor was Pratap Seth, who used to finance him. He also helped Swamiji. So what he did is he got Swamiji to Lonavala and said, this is a beautiful place and you might want to buy something. So that is why Swamiji came all the way from Baroda. He was guided by him and he found this place in Lonavala. And there was a beautiful bungalow here called the Gul Villa, which is still there, owned by Parsi. And Gul Villa, Gul means flowers. So they used to grow a lot of roses. So Swamiji find the first bungalow, he purchased this bungalow. And finally in 1924, he came here and he established Kaivalyadham, Lonavala. And that was also the year when he published his and the world's first research journal in yoga called Yog Mimamsa. So for all the work he was doing since 1917 and throughout, he published all the papers in 1924 on Udyan Bandh, on Nauli and all that. So that is how the history, manifested here in Lonavala, in the Tapobhumi, which we say now is Kaivalyadham. It's a beautiful place, 170 acres in the foothills of Lonavala, and we are surrounded by a lot of lush forests. Right next to us is a Valvan Dam, which is, hydroelectricity project, which was started by JRD Tata, and he succeeded in 1920s, and luckily JRD Tata was student of Swami Kavalyadham, and so a lot of exchanges took place for us to be together, good neighbors since last 95 years. So we are surrounded by good energy, good people, lot of trees, lot of 87 varieties of birds we have in Kaivalyadham, and of course we stretch from scientific research in yoga, philosophical research, college, therapy, and all the other activities. But Swamiji's journey, I said, was here till 1924. And once he started, it was never looking back. He had difficult times, he had very good times. But like I say that he's credited with being the pioneer in scientific research in the field of yoga. So if at all first time any research work in yoga took place, it was here in Kaivalyadham, published here and then started
here. It was a beautiful journey you brought from where Swamiji started to how Kaivalyadham came into its operations. And now we see what it is happening because of all the efforts of Sri O.P. Tiwari ji and you and the entire team of wonderful faculty members. It has never been a one-man show at Kaivalyadham. We see a beautiful, excellent team which is there, wonderful. It could be Sri Bhole ji or Bogal sir, and wonderful academicians who have been there. That's a beautiful team that we always, we see. And also, when you were telling about the scientific research of Swamiji, how he started, you were telling. So, just one, what was the one wonderful research which, if you would say that so far, Swamiji's, not in recent time, but during the time of Swami Kavalyadhamji's, one wonderful, new finding in yoga that would have been very elevating? What would you say, Subodh?
One of the research works which is very prominent in 1940s, which changed the course of thinking was, we always still today, many people think the value of pranayam is because there is more oxygenation in blood. Swamiji challenged this view. Swamiji said if oxygenation was the reason, then there would not have been a ratio of 1:2:2 or 1:2:4. You breathe in, do kumbhak, and then you slowly exhale, because you're retaining the breath for a longer period of time. And in that research which he did, the publication came that actually the value of pranayam was that when you retain, you become more tolerant to the CO2 in your blood, and that helps your autonomic nervous system. So the positive impact on your cardiac rhythm, positive impact on your respiration, those came out. It's the first time the value of CO2 tolerance, more the tolerance to CO2, better were some activities and functionalities, was one of the researches which came out. And so I consider that as a very important, milestone in the field of yoga. And one more I will add from my side.
Yes.
And that interesting research was, someone said, what do you speak of samadhi all the time? Patanjali has mentioned samadhi and so many kinds of bij, sabij samadhi, nirbij samadhi. So Swamiji felt it is a challenge, and this guy was a psychologist. So Swamiji says, okay, let us see. I have a student who goes into this esoteric state of samadhi, and you are a psychologist, so you can hypnotize one person. So if you say that hypnotism and samadhi is the same state, let us conduct an experiment. So what he did, he got his students to enter the state of dhyana and beyond, completely still, and he got the psychologist to hypnotize one person. And they put various, nodes of the skin galvanic resistance to see the reaction, ECG to look. And they found very interesting results. They get 5 stimulus. They poured cold water drops on both the people. They put hot things on both the people. They pinched both the people. And then they studied the difference. And the difference was that person who was hypnotized remained hypnotized, but the scientific instrument showed variations. They showed variation in the heart rate. They showed variation in the skin galvanic resistance, the skin. So those parameters in the person who was hypnotized, on the face of it, he was okay, but internally he was feeling and there were movements. But the person who was in samadhi, there were no changes recorded by the same instruments. So he established and he published that research in 1932, that person in a state of samadhi is internally completely in a state of ekagrata, where nothing influences him. He's in total pratyahar, whereas hypnotism is an external stimulus, and therefore it does not internalize a person. So I find these researches very interesting.
That's amazing. That's why I was wanting to know from you directly, what is that which you feel, and and now I think the legacy continues and a lot of work which are happening. So what do you think is the of course education today? I will see that in terms of quality education yoga, Kaivalyadham has set its own standards, and we see people who come out all around who are doing wonderful things around the world. So in terms of research, what Swamiji has started, is it vigor of the research still going on, and how would the recent times of research, what would you think as the best research what the institute have produced?
Subbu, I really appreciate your observation once, when you said that, there are a lot of people, because Kaivalyadham essentially is the set of sincere people who are working with us. And it has always been more of an institution rather than an individual based, And this we learned right from Swami Kavalyadham. Swami Kavalyadham chose to photograph himself for Udyan Bandh in all the Yogmimamsa. But during the publication, he did not show his face. He didn't want his publicity. He wanted the practice. And luckily, we have been blessed with such good human beings in Kaivalyadham, with such senior faculties like past Dr. Bhole, Dr. Garote. Now we have Professor Bhogal, we have Professor Bodhe, we have Dr. Pathak, and Dr. Prasida Ben, and we have lines of good people who stay in this pool of yoga. And so, of course, we started beautifully with Swamiji. And in research, there are times when you have good people and there are times when you are unable to locate people. So we had our graphs going up and down, but for last 7-8 years, we have excellent team in our scientific research department. We have excellent team in our philosophical research department. Speaking of scientific research, we presently are doing some very good research. One first research I would like to tell you is a biocultural study on stress and breath. This is a study which we are doing with Emory University, which is in the US. And we have a person called Dr. Paul Dallingham. So he is the principal investigator. We are studying around 35 biochemical parameters. We are studying around 7 physiological parameters. How does breath, pranayam, intense practice influence the immunoglobulins, the immune markers? We have gone so deep that we have sent sample of blood to US to study the impact on telomeres, because that is a parameter which conveys how your health is. So that research work is going on. It's going to be there. The clinical trials are done in 2019. And now we are writing papers and analyzing the statistics. So effect of yoga, hatha yogic practices on the stress and related. So that is one study. Second very interesting study is effects of yoga on pre-diabetics in their gene expression. So we have gone deeper into studying now genes, and we have tied up with Genome Institution in Pune. This is a 3-year long study, and the first phase is going on of 6 months, where we have done the intervention and we will study. Because if you have to study gene expression, you will have to go little long term and see how it impacts in time. Third is we are in process which is very close to our heart, and I would encourage all our listeners to go to YouTube and type this word Kavalyadham and Intellectually Challenged. We are, what we reviewed, we thought that there was not much work which was done on yoga and its effect on intellectually challenged children. So it's very close to our heart, and we have tied up with Balaji Vidyapeeth, Dr. Ananda.
In fact, last week we had Dr. Meena Ramanathan on the show. So she was sharing a lot with Kaivalyadham that you have been doing the wonderful yoga mela, the yoga mela, which happened with all the children, parents, all coming together in one platform.
Such a lovely feeling, because these are things which we are proud of. Otherwise we look at all the parameters of the West and we try to. Now, how do you, discussing on this subject, I would like to say, there's an intellectually challenged children, and we were trying to formulate some research methodology. Now, can you ask this intellectually challenged child to fill up a form? Is it a good idea to take blood samples all the time and see what is? No, you have to see physiologically, what improvement is there. So the Bal Mela which we did, and we are so happy, Dr. Ananda is like my yoga brother, I call it. Ananda and Meena and all of us are, so happy doing this work together. And Dr. Prasida is involved from our end, and everyone joined in. It was a big yagna, and we did this pilot study. And they said, well, is that the only way of evaluation? So they found out unique ways. They said, no, what we did is when the children came, they evaluated. They said, okay, let us make laddus. So everyone started making laddus, and they have this neuro coordination problem. So first they could only make, say, 4 laddus in 3 minutes, and it was spilling, and they were doing this, they were not able to control. And then we gave an intervention for 3 months. Then we again made them make laddus. So in 3 minutes, then they made 20 laddus.
Wow.
So we said this is also a parameter to gauge that there is a neuromotor coordination improvement in these children. And qualitative analysis, when we did, and there is a video, that's why I said go to YouTube, because Meenaji was here and she was teaching them very nicely the way children are to learn. And we saw, the parent is saying that until this girl was 14, they always had to feed her. They had to tie her sometimes because she used to cut with blades. And in 3 months, now they're relaxed. She eats herself, does her daily routine herself. Plus, she has become very, very calm and quiet. So imagine us getting together and being able to contribute and change lives of people. So we are doing this research and we are trying to do a pan-India research in this. And through your show, whoever is interested to join us in this great yajna of doing the research in schools which are teach intellectually challenged children, we are willing to get them here, willing to train their teachers and go back. They train the students and we evaluate. And this is all being done, without any costs. It is our wish is that let us all get together and let us go to this segment of children. We talk of yoga in education. We want to focus on yoga on intellectually challenged children because, if we can do good to them like this example which I gave you, I think we would have done a wonderful contribution. So these are some of the researches which we are doing. We are also doing some research on PCOD for women with the National Institute of Reproductive Health, which is sponsored by DST. It's a Satyam project. And we are also a collaborative research center for CCRY, the Ministry of Ayush. So we are doing some fundamental research on Shuddhi Kriyas. How does Agnisar help in pre-diabetic people because it influences pancreas and all the texts say that. Now we want to establish that at some level it has been established. We want to go deeper and see what levels it influences the insulin production and all that. So a huge number of research is happening. We would love that people stay in touch with Kaivalyadham and its research because ultimately all research is for people. And what's the point if we are not able to spread it through people? So now our journal YOGi is peer reviewed, and please go online. HTML is free of cost. It's at just type YOGi and you will be led there. And more people join us, and we will be more than happy to take them together and do this work.
Exactly. In fact, for me, even personally, working with intellectually challenged children has been one of my passions, and I do work with some of the schools here in Bangalore. And we have, kind of brought with little bit small kind of modules where we can, engage them in a different way through fun with, yoga and all those things. So it's very interesting to know about this thing. I'm sure, they require a lot, especially even not only the children, even the caretakers, their parents, they also can benefit a lot with this. That's wonderful, Subodhji, for giving a bird's eye view of all the wonderful research that the institute is.
Now, since I know you are also working with them, we will include you too.
Thank you. And then one thing I was when I was listening to you, all these studies when you were telling, initially when Swamiji was doing, he had done research about how a yogi, when he goes to samadhi and all those aspects that he tried to do. Eventually, over a period of time, today the focus in yoga research, it could be in SVyasa, it could be in any places where wherever research is happening. There's been more with, of course, health and therapy benefit of yoga or various application in terms of children. It could be all those things are happening. And of course, as you rightly said, it is finally the common man, the public, which is to be benefited. So in terms of public, still yoga is connected to health and wellness and their day-to-day healthy living. That is the most important thing. So definitely the efficacy of yoga in all this, and I'm sure even now a lot of openings which are going to happen in terms of COVID-19 research, yoga's relevance in this situation. Already a few steps would have been taken more, and that is required. But are we not giving less attention to what the original things of yoga would be, like deep things, like for example meditative studies or studies on more samadhi? Is it like we don't get more samples to do it, or is it that the interest or focus on research is only towards therapeutic and other applications of yoga? What is the scenario, Subodhji?
You have hit the nail on the head. And that is true. Everyone who claims that he goes in samadhi, we invite him now and say, let us do work. Let us see what is your basal heart rate. Let us see. It is very good. We are so happy. They don't turn up the next. So one of the genuine problems is that, there are not many people of that caliber who can enter that stage. Having said that, I have read researches being done on meditative states, especially with the Buddhist monks. And there are studies published on how it affects their frontal cortex and how it affects the production of GABA and you know, all those kind of studies, which have been mostly done in the West sponsored studies. But taking your point ahead, you know, this collaborative research center which we have essentially is going into fundamental research. Because what you indicated is probably the subtle aspect of yoga, like the sanyama part of it, the dharana, dhyan, samadhi, we need to of course take care. But I look at the research in terms of fundamental and applied. So applied is being done to a very large extent, how it has XYZ. Fundamental is like pranayama is good for tolerance of CO2. So this can be applied by a climber from the army who goes high. He uses less oxygen because he's trained in pranayama. It is also used by a deep sea diver because he goes down and he has to carry same amount of oxygen tank but for a longer time. So these fundamental researches are very important. Whether they are on the Antaranga Yoga or Bharanga Yoga, I would say yes, there needs to be more focus on the fundamental research which establish the equation. Like Newton said, this is gravity, and then you take hundreds of things through gravity. Similarly, those kind of researches need to be done. And I do think that it has been a challenge to study the subtle aspects of yoga. But I would definitely agree that more collaboration is needed, and we should form now, having listen to your question, and I can express my view here. We need to get together because this whole concept of Indian Yoga Association was essentially meant so that we could share the resources. If we continue to work in silos, if we continue to work on our own, what we do is we multiply the need for equipment, the resources, and individually everyone is doing research independently on hypertension at X, Y, Z institution. What happens if we come together? You will have kind of sample size which no one can dream of with the institutions. So you are right, we should have more focus on fundamental research, but also important is, like Indian Yoga Association, what it is trying to do now is get together and do some research work where we can share our resources, and where in real terms we say Sana Vavtu Sano Bunak, to learn and contribute together.
Thank you so much for taking that. And when you were mentioning about the Indian Yoga Association and all these which are happening, so in the current scenario, if you see, after this Corona situation started, the lockdown started, we have today, whether it is a lot many yoga teachers who have been there today compared to what it was there a decade back even. Thanks to all the pioneering institution, it could be Vyasa, Kaivalyadham, and all the wonderful institutions, Baba Ramdev's Patanjali University, which is there, everybody. Now there are a lot of professional yoga teachers who are very well educated, certified. They're coming. The Ayush Ministry also come with the yoga certification board and all those things. So, but what had happened is that still I think the yoga teacher community is not a very organized sector. Like we have a lot of formal panels of people getting organized in terms of medical field, or even in Ayurveda and other things, how it has happened. In yoga, because we have different levels of people, some who has done a certification program, somebody has done a master's level, somebody has done a therapy course, somebody has done a postgraduate program, somebody has done a PhD. And then there are somebody who claims, no, we are not into any of these courses. We are the yogis kind of people who are also there. So, but when the situation of this economic crisis started, I've seen that it has also affected the economy of so many yoga teachers, because most of them have been doing like freelance classes. They are running small yoga centers on their own. So people stop coming to their centers, so they lose their clientage. Years back, it was only a kind of yoga was more a seva movement. There was no money involved. See, for years together, when I learned from various masters, I never had spent a single penny in learning from them. Even at SVyasa, I could do a master's degree program for years, this without, we were doing seva and we were learning. We had a wonderful system of Gurukula way of education those days. Now time changes, all this professionalism is very required, essential. So people spend with the expectation that they get back with their profession getting done. But in this situation, lot many people got their profession affected. And even when institutions also, those are working in schools or colleges as teachers, as you know, the situation is that many had got their cut down of the salary and everything. So while each profession had their professional bodies addressing to the government and getting some measures of support from the government, maybe in terms of financial support or some kind of guidelines which they were able to get. So is there any measures from the bodies like the Indian Yoga Association and all that some support for the community of yoga teachers are expected, Subodhji?
I say that everything is a question of demand and supply. Okay. When you talk in terms of professionalism. So yoga, if you want to understand very simply, I do, because there is a lot of confusion sometimes when you try to explain and try to understand. Yoga as a spiritual path is completely on the teacher and the taught, the guru and the sishya. So there is no regulations required. There is no regulations possible. It is a path of adhyatma, which is for each individual to gauge. That is not regulated. That is open still. There is no problem. Second aspect is for those who want to qualify themselves and understand yoga in a formal education system. Then there is the BA, the MA, MSc, PhD. There are dual purposes. You want to qualify yourself. Now you also want to be employed as a professor, assistant professor, and associate. Then there is the concept of a yoga teacher who wants to learn yoga enough for him to impart 2 ways. Yoga instructor, I want to instruct 1 way. Yoga teacher, samvad, you can teach people. Now what has happened? The amount of people coming out as professionals is far larger than the amount of people who can be absorbed. See, the amount of professors and PhDs and MScs you have, you cannot have that many assistant professor jobs. So they land up doing teaching work. Now you have thousands and thousands of yoga teachers being qualified after diploma and certificate, whose primary job was to teach, practice. But already there is a PhD, there is an MSc, there is a BSc, and then these people are also there. So the supply has been more than the demand. So therefore, that is one of the issues which face us today.
In fact, sorry to say it.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe a decade back when we used to say we have more demand which is there. A lot of yoga teachers are wanted. We want, but we are not getting so many people to come and do the courses. Institutions were offering courses. I remember we used to have days when we had hardly few people to come and take courses in SVyasa. When we were there, we were hardly a batch of not less than 10 people. We were there. But today, hundreds of people come and do it. So that is a scenario. Please go ahead.
So what is happening? Many people are taking it as an add-on course. Many people are trying. So you have a lot of people. You have more people than what you need. So definitely there is. I'll give you a parallel example where people don't like to confront, but I will be very open and very candid. What has happened to teachers' education? I'll tell you statistics from National Council of Teachers Education. You have 19 lakh teachers being produced every year. You have an attrition because of retirement, because of whatever, of only 2.5 lakh teachers. 16.5 lakh teachers are excess every year in India. Why? Because you have far more colleges opened up than required. What has happened? your quality of education has gone down. So what I say, in yoga, you need to regulate the quality of yoga education. Let there be specialists who teach. S. Vyasa, Kaivalyadham, uh, Dev Sanskriti Sansthan, these are three institutions. I name Patanjali Yoga. These are institutions which specialize in domain experts. We give 1,000 hours training and give a diploma to a student. But then there is another student who attends 30 weekend sessions in a state university and he gets a diploma. He's at the same level. So this has created a lot of difficulty in the world of yoga. Indian Yoga Association is trying to address this by launching the certification program at its own level. Of course, the Yoga Certification Board has identified leading yoga institutions. It is certifying and accrediting yoga institutions, yoga centers. So a movement has started where Yoga Certification Board, Indian Yoga Association in few years to come will play a pivotal role in ensuring the qualitative aspect of yoga. And I have heard and I hope that the government can get the Yoga Council sooner than later to regulate the qualitative aspect. It has to be unique because we have failed earlier in only regulation. There has to be some newer methodology of partnership with private and public, so that and the government, so that everything can run in a way which is more holistic than there. And definitely, Indian Yoga Association will and is taking measures to get more teachers on board and see how we can help them to get more entrepreneurial jobs, guide them to places where they can, get some kind of employment, be involved as professionals. So all of us working together will be able to achieve that. But like I said, we have to address the fundamental issue of quality in education of yoga.
Very, very nice, Subodhji. That's where, to bring a clarity, I just, want to ask you these questions so that there are people who are watching, we have all yoga enthusiasts who are watching this. So, for them to get a clarity, it is to hear from the horse's mouth. So, as you were telling, we identify that there is one, the Guru Sishya Parampara thing, which is coming. Even today, the greatness of at least Bharat is that we have such wonderful traditions which are there, the Avichinna Parampara, the lineage of all yoga paramparas are continuing in a way. And even I look at you as a kind of one such, because you have imbibed from your beloved father, who has been a living embodiment of yoga, and who had spent his time with such a great master like Swamiji, and that kind of a tradition, a lineage is one side we have, and one side the professional approach of yogic education and the career, which is also building up slowly. So some people who did not have any, even their parents would never have thought of what yoga is, but they have developed an interest. So they have got qualified, and they have, for example, they would have been doing something before. Maybe we see many people from IT jumping over to YT today, which is yoga therapy or yoga teaching, whatever it is, or IT and VT to YT. And that kind of people who take an interest on their own and who develop this, of course, acquire the qualification and then come. And also, we have today new emerging styles of kind of modern ways of yoga. It could be power yoga or hot yoga, or various things which are also coming up. And immediately you see everywhere mushrooming studios and all those things in at least major cities, and abroad, though, the scenario is a lot of things, such things come. And some, we have the traditional, paramparas of yoga, which is there. And now suddenly somebody comes out and says, no, I'm a Siddha Purusha. I have attained Samadhi. As you say, you should call them for a research. The next day they will disappear, of course. Yes. But such people coming and proclaiming to be so-called yogis, and, who have yogic siddhas and all those things which are there. So how do you see all these people in the world of yoga? And today, what is that? How do we either go along with all this different? What is the way to go along, or should we have some debate with all these people, or how do you look at the scenario, Subodhji?
I think faith and belief will take us, because it's a difficult time, because a lot of yoga teachers Now say, you do what I say, but don't do what I do. You see, yoga is an experiential science. It has to be
Like the
lived to be teachable.
doctors, the doctor may have a cup of coffee, but he would say for the patient, or even sometimes there are doctors who smoke and
Yeah,
prescribe
yeah,
us
yeah.
not to do.
Exactly. So there are these, what I say, the yoga teachers of modern times, the kind of bhogi yoga teachers. Now, can we do something about it? There is now a beer yoga, there is a nude yoga, and there is acrobatic yoga, there is this yoga and that yoga. So my understanding is that in what we should work is of strengthening and popularizing the classical yoga rather than trying to discuss and trying to get into the arguments with the other kinds, because let us be proactive in what we do rather than get the others. And that is what is important when I say about the the qualitative aspect of yoga. Because you, if you produce, yoga is a very it's a different aspect. It is a blend of spirituality, it is blend of therapy, it is blend of darshana, so many things together. Yoga is unique in its own way, and therefore all our effort of institutions who believe that yoga essentially is yoga chitta vritti nirodha tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam, if we believe in this, then our effort should be to promote it more confidently with strength and get everyone together to take this message of Patanjali forward, and treat it as chitta vritti nirodha and not yoga sharira vritti nirodha.
Very nice, Shivaji. Now, I think we have heard, many enough of about the yoga tradition, about yoga research, education, and the contemporary issues what we have in the field of yoga, and even about corona situation, prevalence in Maharashtra, and all those that we have heard. So now a bit of your personal journey that we want to know. Sometimes what happens, we say in Kannada there is a saying, hiddala gida maddalla. You have a crop which is herb which is there in your backyard, medicine which is available, but we go around searching for it outside. What is there, what grows inside our home, we don't, sometimes we don't value it. You were, as you rightly, in one of the passing thing you were mentioning, that you were born and brought up in the beautiful environment of the yogic environment of Kaivalyadham. So how was your kind of journey into yoga? Is it like, was it forced upon you what you have today in the yoga, or you also like kind of wanted it and you have taken it? So how was your journey in yoga, Shubhoji?
Mine was very interesting because my father, he came in 1958 to Kavalyadham, was a disciple of Swami Kavalyadham. And I was born here when Swami Kavalyadham was no longer there, but Swami Digambarji was. So my father actually never forced us. We were normal kids going to school. But one thing which happened is my father used to go, we used to have Sandhya Puja every day at Swamiji's Kuti. Swamiji Samadhi and Swami Digambar used to do. So every day my school used to be at around 7:30 and the puja used to be from morning 6:30 to 7. So I used to be ready, and 2 days when I was small, around 4 years old, I still remember, I used to go with my father. He goes in the morning. So what inspired me to go to puja? Did I feel good? Did I feel spiritual at that time? No. End of the puja, we used to get peda. So I was inspired by that peda, and I continuously went, and I used to say, good. So Swami Digambarji used to give me, sometimes he used to say, okay, now you do the prasad, and I used to get 2 pedas. So I started going in the evening also, because I thought in the evening also I will get peda. And I never realized when it internalized. So today, if I suddenly realize that a lot of mantras have been kanthastha, it was because of that journey which I had. And then, of course, like a regular student, I went to college and I completed my commerce and I completed my law. And then after a year, I decided and even that point of time, my father was not He says you have to choose. You have a career as a lawyer where you will earn probably 100,000 rupees in a month. And here you have a career where you will earn probably 5,000 rupees a month. But it has to be your calling. And to be very, very honest, it was a journey where I was into yoga, I practiced yoga, but it never occurred to me. But upon contemplation, whatever was imbibed as the seed of spirituality by my teacher, by my guru, from others, it sprung. And instantly I had, very clear journey. And I told my father in 1997 that, well, I have decided that I will quit practicing law and I will dedicate my life to Kaivalyadham. And even then my father said, you have saying life, come here, work for 2-3 years and see how it goes, because you are not going to get a preferential treatment because of yours. So I started as a manager where I had to do everything myself. And then, so it has been a journey of more than 2 decades. And every step I have been slowly experiencing myself. So the journey started unknowingly, and slowly you imbibe the traits. Slowly it grows on you. And then someday you realize that the founder, Swami Kavalyadham, his vision was so great that you ask the question to yourself that kimartham kriyate kriya, that why are you doing what you are doing? Why are you in this world for? And so you feel privileged to be able to dedicate your life to such a visionary whose vision was to take yoga to masses and benefit everyone. So it's been a beautiful journey, and I just love being in the institution, feeling the blessings of Swamiji and all the elders here, and being able to interact with so many lovely people in this world of yoga. So that's been my journey, and it's going strong, and it's going lovely, and it's beautiful. Even meeting people like you has been such part of this journey, which I feel is so good.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's inspiring for people like us. We follow Mahajanaha Yena Gatassa Pantaha. The elders are showing the path, and youngsters like us, we take the path ahead and go. So it's not so difficult for us because we look forward for such examples of few people who are in front of us, right? Acharati Sreshtaha. Whatever the elders who do, we just have to follow. And that is where I think that is the the greatness of this tradition, yoga. It is sometimes you learn directly from some people, go and sit with them. Sometimes it may not be a direct learning, but by observing how they do today, thanks to all this wonderful technology, we can learn a lot. Learning need not be restricted to one book or one person. It is open as always. So that's a wonderful journey of you. We were blessed to hear. And now where we are going to see Subodhji after 10 years from now or 20 years from now?
Well, you're going to see me here only. But, I presently, given my position, I have been into a lot of policy making, execution, operations, because when you are looking after an institution, consciously you have to ensure that everything runs smoothly. And Lonavala has a very decentralized model. Kaivalyadham has a very decentralized model where research is taken care of by an expert, your philosophy is taken. But at the end of that, everything culminates into one. But yes, I do want to have more time to myself for my own sadhana and for my own learnings. And so one thing which I have decided myself that probably next 8 years maximum, I will be here. And after 8 years, in terms of my role, it should change to being able to just be an drashta and be there, and then that is what is called succession planning, that let other people come and take it forward. And I will get more time for my own sadhana, for my own practices, and for my own experience. So like I said, I should be able to do what I preach and not tell people that, you don't do what you do. So I should practice it myself. And I hope I should be able to do that.
Very nice, Subodhji. Why I asked is because one of our speakers in the same forum had said there is no retirement in yoga. Yoga is something which goes, role may change, as you rightly said, but yoga is going to be there as long as we live. Yoga is something, and it carries forward with us all the time. So that's a wonderful thing to tell. Same time, the institution as such, we see it has more potential. Today when we see there are many universities coming up in the field of yoga. Of course, initially it was Bihar School of Yoga, then Vyasa, which came up. Today there are a couple of other universities which are there. So don't you think that Kaivalyadhama, being there as a pioneering institution, should be as a university there for yoga?
2006 and 7, we got the permission for deemed university. We were on the final affidavit we should have given, and we should. But then when we had the meeting of our governing body, where you have eminent people, there was one discussion which happened. And that discussion was that why did Bihar Yoga Bharati relinquish the state of university? And we realized that university system puts up so much of statutory requirement on oneself that it's better to maintain your autonomous independence, whereby you can offer courses, where I was speaking of the quality. You can offer courses with your own quality, affiliate yourself with the university, so those interested in BA and MA degrees can also get with higher quality of you, but you retain your autonomous independence of doing things. Otherwise, even today, I will be very, very, blunt looking at the system. There is a yoga university has to follow the statutory requirement of a conventional university.
That's such, unfortunately,
which completely destroys the essence of a yoga which you want to do. And therefore, I think though we had the chance, we rightly chose not to get the, not to accept, but not to go further with that idea. And we are glad we did that, because today we are offering everything, but we are also very independent. And that is the strength which we have. And I think that is the reason why we chose that.
That's wonderful, because we had that question always in mind. I had when it's beautiful, that it could become a university when there are many which is coming, but you have very clearly explained the idea, the status. And thank you so much, Subbuji. It was a wonderful time with excellent amount of learning that we had with you. But I'm not going to leave you. The last part of it is a rapid fire route. So I would ask you some quick, instant things, I would say, and if your spontaneous answers, which are always, you always shoot the right thing at the right time. So we can expect that from you even now. I don't, there's nothing planned. What, right, on spot, in the presence of mind, what comes to me, I just ask, where can I start from you? Start for you. Your favorite yogasana?
Vrikshasana.
Wow. And Corona?
Recovery.
Post-Corona?
Unity.
Yoga education?
Needs to qualitatively improve.
Research in yoga?
Needs to be qualitative.
Yoga in politics?
Should not mix.
Politics in yoga?
Definitely stay away.
A yogi?
Simple and humble.
A bhogi?
Enjoyment.
Yogi?
Given up to enjoyment.
Kaivalya?
The final stage of achievement.
The yoga day?
Getting the world together in yoga.
Wonderful. Nothing more than this is there to ask you, and then even within the rapid fire with the short snippets that you are given, wonderful answers have come forward, and thank you so much. And I'm sure even after finishing this, you must have a lot of things to go ahead, because it's just one more day for the day, the yoga day. Though every day is yoga day for all of us. Yeah. But for the world at large, as you said, to bring the world together, this has become a wonderful thing. I remember the, Yoga Day. It is not just like that. All of a sudden it came. The efforts of great many people, Sri O.P. Tiwari ji and, Guruji, all people, Swami ji, Baba Ramdev, Ravi Shankar ji, all people of years together have been talking of this, bringing all the institutions together through the Indian Yoga Association or the Yoga Day. It is all, I think have got the right time, the right momentum, the right person, the right channel through which it has taken a beautiful shape. It's a tapasya of all people for years together what I've done. I think the collective efforts of all the yogic stalwarts, the tapas have come to a great fructification the right time, that even though there are challenges today, but the yogic world is making the challenges as opportunities through a lot of sessions this year. Yoga at home, yoga with family, with the theme. We're all trying to reach to all the families around and try to help them the best. And I think these evening sessions for all people in the yoga world have been very relaxing and same time very enlightening to be with people like you. Many have commented me always saying what we don't learn in one course or something. The lot of things to imbibe from great people like you has been the wonderful learning, and I'm so happy that you could be with us today. And thank you, Subodhji, for this wonderful blessing that you have given to all of us. And friends, we thank Subodhji for being with us. And tomorrow we have yet another, yogic stalwart, our big brother of the yoga family, Sri Kaustup Deshikachar, who is again Krishnamacharya's grandson. Deshikacharji's son, who has imbibed a lot from this tradition, and he has been a wonderful teacher going around and teaching. So tomorrow we are going to have Kaapi, which is Kashaya, and a personal interaction with a yogi. And we have Kaustubji on the board tomorrow. And after tomorrow, on the Yoga Day on 21st, we're going to have our Guruji, Dr. H.R. Nagendraji. I would say the binding force of all yoga people together. So Guruji is going to be with us on 21st. So keep being connected and let more and more people benefit from these sessions. And thank you all so much. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, Subodhji.